Welcome back to Susan Dawn Ascension Connections, part of Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections, and welcome to our 2025 year ahead reading. This is a reading that is for the collective that takes a look at our year ahead, what is to come in this new year. We just did the channeling for the 2025 year ahead, so make sure that you are checking that out for more in-depth recap of where we were previously and how that's impacting our year ahead, and at notable astrological transits that we might be experiencing in 2025 and how we might be experiencing that. And how that's also going to carry over into the years to come, not just 2025, but how the energy is going to expand and continue to create momentum in our ascension and soul growth journey, and also in our very human lives. We're not creating that separation anymore between our human life and our spiritual life. We are the bridge, we are both. And so taking a look at all of that in this reading, we are going to be looking at current energies and how that is impacting the year ahead. And we're going to be diving deep into the quarters, the 4 seasons and quarters of 2025. I like to do a spread that looks like a clock, and we're going to be doing it starting with the first quarter, January, February, March, second quarter, April, May, June, third quarter, July, August, September, and the fourth quarter, October, November, December. Remember that as we are looking at these collective energies, that you are applying it to yourself in whichever way it resonates with you at the time. You can always come back and see if there are deeper layers and deeper meanings, and if it resonates with you further throughout the year. There are timestamps in the comments and in the description box for you to revisit any section of this reading that you would like. Keep in mind too that energy is fluid and timelines are always shifting. And so as we are looking at the current energies, we're looking into the future and future timelines this year ahead based on this current energy. But again, as energy shifts, that will have an impact and shift the timeline that we are on. So we're just kind of looking at one timeline for this collective reading. Also, as we are looking at the quarters, January, February, March, April, May, June, for example, we're not looking at it as one card for each month. We're looking at the whole because time is fluid. And so what resonates for the first quarter might also resonate for the second. What resonates for the fourth quarter, or what we channel for the fourth quarter, might resonate more for the third. So do consider that as well. Time is fluid. It's not beholden to any human construct. We're just putting it in this form in a way that is organized and makes sense for the energies and the channelings, but it might resonate in different aspects, especially as this is a collective reading versus a personal reading. Okay? Then we're going to look at certain themes. We're going to pull a card for the themes of relationships, finances and career, family and home, and soul growth. We'll get a card for the challenges for the year ahead for the collective, blessings for the year ahead for the collective. We'll get some messages of guidance, and we'll end with a message from the universe using my Conversations with the Universe deck. All right, let's get into it and see what do we need to know for the collective, for the current energy right now at the beginning of 2025. What is it that we need to know for the current energy, the current ascension energy for the collective for 2025, please? What is it that we need to know for the current energy for the collective for 2025? Get one more card, please. One more card. Current energy for the collective for 2025. Thank you. Okay. The overall energy that I'm getting for this current energy heading into 2025 is that we're going to be much more conscious of our spiritual journey and the steps that we're taking in connecting to ourselves, and especially in connection to each other. I'm not going to reiterate the channeling that we did. You can definitely go back and take a look at certain sections for what we're called to here. But this 2025 is really laying the foundations, new foundations for what community and what unity really means. And a lot of this is happening in the collective subconsciously. As I'm channeling for the collective, I'm mostly channeling for our collective, our segment, our community. But this also extends to the global collective and what the global collective is experiencing, but we're relating it to our journey. So we might speak more of consciousness. We might speak more of where you are on your ascension journey. What I'm feeling is no matter where you are in your spiritual awakening or ascension journey, there is going to be a deeper sense of connection to self, a much more conscious awareness of yourself and that connection to yourself. And again, we picked up on that in the channeling, especially with the astrological transits that are supporting this. The energy, so let me read the cards here. We have journey guide, travel, change in location. We have conscious steps, considered action, looking forward, and we have elementals. And this is a beautiful deck, so I'll just hold the cards up really quickly so you can see it. Nature spirits, the 4 elements. Again, I just want to reiterate that what I feel is there is a deeper sense of the journey, a deeper conscious awareness of your spiritual nature and of the journey. And again, how that's going to relate is going to be different for everybody. It's going to be based on where you've been, where you are along your journey thus far. But it's a deeper, it's like a leveling up. It's a deeper sense of self. It's a deeper sense of rooting into your and anchoring into your spiritual connection. There's this energy of forward momentum, this energy of forward movement that's picking up. So this could be play itself out in a number of different ways. You might be experiencing upgrades with regards to your spiritual journey, and that there's movement in your physical journey. You might be moving, you might be changing jobs, you might be changing relationships, so there might be actual physical movement, but that's a result of the energy, the movement within the energy, the shifts within the energy that you're experiencing. And I feel like that's going to play out in a much more conscious way. For example, the decisions that you're making, the choices that you're making are becoming much more conscious and much more intentional than they had been in the past. In the past, you might have been operating in the unconscious. It's becoming much more intentional. And again, this is playing out in the collective, the global collective, the greater collective, because it is I feel like people are going to be much more intentional. And what they're bringing forth is people are already operating in that sense, much more intentional with regards to maybe the social media platforms they use, much more intentional in the foods that they eat, much more intentional in the relationships they have or the interactions that they have or how they're engaging with people or who they're engaging with. So there's a sense of intention that's coming through, and that's coming from this forward momentum. That's coming from this next level of consciousness. This is also going to play out in you might already be experiencing this in how there is this upgrade in your level of consciousness. I don't have another word for it. So, for example, engaging in next level of spiritual studies, next level in spiritual awareness, next level in understanding yourself or your spiritual self. So this could be books that you're reading, this could be maybe courses that you're taking, this could be enhancing your spiritual practice. This could even be meeting a community of like-minded individuals, like your soul tribe, for example, in which you are engaging in spiritual topics and discussions and conversations. It could also be, for example, connecting deeper with those who are that soul family or soul connections, engaging in higher consciousness ways. If we're talking about the sacred union path of ascension, we've been mentioning this reunion and reconciliation energy, in which you are either meeting soul connections or your sacred partner, or you are reigniting that connection again, but in a much more conscious way. It's consciousness. That's what this feels like. It's a level of consciousness. You might also be working one-on-one with mentors or guides. You might be working more closely within the community. This could be a spiritual community, or this could be just a community with regards to your mission work, but you're much more mindful of what that mission is. You have a much more clear sense of direction and how you are engaging in service work. So there's this leveling up, but the core of that is consciousness. Because of the level of consciousness that is being reached, and again, it's going to look different for everybody depending on that level of consciousness. So if I'm resonating with you in this community, then this is what I call the higher heart ascension, where you are really engaging in higher level connection with yourself and with other people because of that higher level of consciousness, and you're in alignment with yourself. If we're talking about the global collective, it's getting into that next step of conscious connection, where awareness is building, it's growing, you're expanding. So it might not be the level globally that you might be on individually, but again, everything has its ripple effect. So when I'm channeling this, I'm channeling for my collective, but it has an impact on the global collective as well. Or I should say too, we will also be channeling for the global collective, because micro to the macro, it all is interconnected. So the 4 elements here, it just feels like connection to yourself, connection to the earth, connection to the planet, connection to each other, connection to community. It is that feeling of everything being interconnected and having that level of awareness of how everything is interconnected and moving in that direction of unity consciousness. That's where we've been, that's where we're headed. It is gaining momentum. This energy of this consciousness shift is continuing to gain momentum. And like we were channeling in the first part of our 2025 year ahead, this is actually being seen in our global collective, not just in our spiritual communities, but in the global collective with regards to how everything is playing out. Remember that what you see on the surface is not all there is, that as you are seeing division and chaos, you're also seeing unity and order. You're also seeing destruction or creation from the destruction. So you might be seeing destruction, but you're also seeing something being created from it. There seems to be a great divide, but there is also a community that is rising up from the shadow of that division. So there's a lot that is happening simultaneously. And one of the key aspects of 2025 is increasing that container within ourselves to be able to hold space for all. And we can relate to this with regards to holding space for the world, for example, holding space for where everybody is collectively, but also within our individual worlds, holding space for where our relationships are, where our family is, where our friends are. Those most intimate connections, those that are closest to us, being able to hold space for where everybody is on their journey. All right, let's get into our 2025 year ahead. We're going to start with the first quarter, January, February, and March, which we're already in. So let's see what is happening here in this first quarter. We have the world. We have the star. And we have the sun. Listen, these are some of the best and happiest cards of the deck. And I know it can look like there is a lot of, again, division, a lot of chaos, a lot of disruption in the world. And again, it's the ability to hold space for that, an ability to shift your perspective, shift your beliefs, and be able to create by what it is that you're focusing on. If you're focusing on the dismal, if you're focusing on the lack, if you're focusing on the victimhood of it all, then you're going to be creating that or kind of simmering in that energy, right? Use whatever you are seeing on the surface and use that as a motivating factor to move you in a different direction. So, for example, if there is a lot of chaos and destruction with regards to, I'll just use the most recent example, the fires in California. I don't care the reason for that. All the conspiracy theories and all the hidden truths in that, I don't care about that. As much as I do, I don't. Because that continuing to be in that energy of blame and the cause, that's not doing anybody who has been impacted any good. And so when I say I don't care, it's not that I don't care. It's just that it's not as important as what are we doing? This has happened. So what are we doing to help people who are impacted, who are suffering, for the wildlife and the animals that have been displaced, who are missing their families, who have been injured? What are we doing? How are we taking action? Rather than sinking into the conspiracy theory of it all, rather than creating more division with regards to who's right and who's wrong and placing the blame, what are we doing to come together from a place of unity to support each other, to release that suffering? What are we doing coming from that place of love? That's this energy here. That's what I mean by shifting your perspective. Rather than being pulled into that division and blame and projection, which a lot of conspiracy theories are held in, even though I believe there's truth in every conspiracy theory, there's a reason for that. Your higher level of ascension is going to show you that you're not helpless to those truths, because there's more than one reality and there's more than one truth. And your ascension shows you how to hold space for all of it. And not only that, but it shows you that you are an empowered creator and that you're not beholden to what has already been created, that we are constantly creating. And so, while one level of our spiritual awakening has us see things from new perspectives and view the world from new angles and see new truths, which is super important to your spiritual awakening. So I'm not dissing that by any means, and I'm not judging that by any means. But if we're talking about this higher level of ascension that we're being guided into, then it's about recognizing, letting go of that matrix, because continuing to regurgitate and repeat conspiracy theories keeps you in a consciousness loop. Releasing that and recognizing that we have the power energetically to shift timelines. We have the power to create something new. We have the power to create something better. With this world card, this is that new earth split that we talk about a lot. Well, we haven't in a while on this channel, but in the spiritual community, it is discussed a lot, the new earth split. And what that actually isn't something physical. It is something that is energetic. It is a level of consciousness. A dimension is a level of consciousness. And from that level of consciousness, you create your physical reality. Nothing happens in our physical reality that is not first created within ourselves, collectively, individually and collectively. So if we're applying this to your individual life, experiences and circumstances and situations and relationships and all of that is created energetically based on beliefs that we hold, or lessons that our soul needs to learn, or cycles that we're in, or it's within our energy. It's within our energy field. There's a reason that is being shown to us. And it's not to keep you in victimhood of, oh my gosh, this is happening to me. What do I do? It is to show you as an opportunity for soul growth. I'll give you the biggest example. Lyme disease was the greatest suffering I have ever known, physically, emotionally, spiritually. It was a huge catalyst for a major awakening in my life. Not quite my ascension journey, but a major awakening in my life. Not my first, but a major one. And so when I was healing from that, I had to bring myself out of that victimhood and use that pain that I was feeling and transform that, alchemize that pain into a sense of purpose. And so I wrote about my experiences, and I became an advocate for patients and caregivers, and I built a nonprofit, and I wrote a book. And to this day, I am still a fierce advocate for Lyme patients and caregivers and those with chronic illness, because I know that pain, but I don't have to sit in that darkness anymore. And I know how to navigate out of that. Or at the very least, I know how to hold space for those who are still in there. And that is the greatest gift that my experiences has brought me, is that empathy, but also having that boundary that I don't have to live in that trauma. I don't have to live in that victimhood, but I'm able to alchemize all that pain and that suffering that I had, and turn that into empathy for what others are going through, and turn that empathy into a sense of purpose, which is where my advocacy work and awareness work comes in, where I educate people and and I'm able to empathize with them and hold space for people in that same situation. So when too I was going through my ascension journey, I began to see that even though like that experience was something that was created for a purpose, it was bringing me to the next level of myself, and I would never wish that on myself knowingly, obviously, but there was a purpose for my soul. And so I had to take responsibility of, at some point my soul created that. At some point, those circumstances, that experience was created from, not consciously, this is, we're not talking consciously, we're talking from the soul's perspective, the higher perspective. At some point, um even on the other side, I had created that because there were also people that I was meant to meet through that experience. One of my best friends and soul sisters, who I've been on this spiritual journey with, I first was on the Lyme disease journey with. She is one of my very best friends. She is like a sister to me, and I would not have met her without that experience. So there's reasons for the experiences that we have that we might not always be aware of as we're going through it, right? And so it's all about your level of consciousness and looking at it from a different lens, looking at it from a different landscape. Not looking at it from this place of suffering and victimhood, but looking at it as, what is this actually showing me? What is this actually teaching me about myself, about my life? Who is this inviting into my life? What is this welcoming in? Um, Especially like if you're talking about meeting new people or soul connections or soul family, most of the time we will experience those soul connections and soul family because of certain experiences. We might be in certain jobs, we might be in certain relationships, it might be in certain locations. It's all by a divine design. And when we are at this level of ascension, we recognize that there is order in the seeming chaos. As humans, we live in a world of duality, but our ascension journey brings us out of that duality and has us look at it from a higher perspective, has us look at it from the middle path, that it's not either or, it's always an and. That middle way, that middle path. And so with the world card here, that split, it's not a physical place yet. It is first an energetic experience where you will be experiencing more joy, more peace, more light, more love in your life in your very physical experiences. Because again, you're not attached to that victimhood. You're not attached to that old energy of lack and scarcity, those denser energies. Again, a dimension is a shift in consciousness. And then from that shift in consciousness, it becomes a physical reality. It doesn't work by looking at our physical reality and trying to change our physical reality. We have to change ourselves first in order to change our external world. And so that's what the sun and the star is indicating. Right now, there's a lot of shadow that is being shown on the planet, but that's part of the collective awakening. That's part of the collective ascension. And as we channeled in the first part, the collective is always going to have a little bit of a lag from our individual experience, especially for those who are part of my community and who are resonating with this, because you have been on this ascension journey, because you have been doing the work, the inner work, because you have been shifting your perspective, shifting consciousness, shifting your identity about yourself. And I'm not talking about an external identity. I'm talking about embodying the soul of who you are. That's what I mean when I'm speaking of identity. Embodying the truth and the soul of who you are, your core essence as soul, your divinity. The more you embody that, the more that has a ripple effect. And you are essentially leading the way by the example of your embodiment. You're leading the way by your expression of who you are. And so, as we are seeing a lot of chaos and disorder, it's up to us to shift in our perspective and see the blessings. And when we get to the challenges and blessings, we'll find, having done these personal readings, that the blessings and the challenges are always kind of two sides of the same coin. The blessings help us with the challenges. The challenges show us the blessings. Well, the same that's happening on this planet right now is there's a lot of shadow, a lot of shadow, and it can be very overwhelming to the senses, to the nervous system. There's a lot of injustice. I myself have been feeling a lot of rage at the injustice that is being experienced, and that's getting my Libra Aries activated because my Libra is all about justice and harmony and balance and peace, and my Aries energy is like, I want to effing fight this. Like, I want to fight against injustice. I want to take action on this. I want to make this change. But through my ascension journey, I've had to learn how to temper that and recognize how that change can actually come about. That change actually comes from cultivating that harmony within, cultivating that peace within, cultivating that balance within. Because the more that it's embodied, again, the more energetically that has a ripple effect on everybody around us, and that extends outwards into the global collective. So shifting your perspective and shifting your energy, it's not about denying what you're seeing, but it's about looking at it through a new lens, rather than defeat, rather than avoidance, rather than looking at it from a place of, oh my gosh, what's going to happen, looking at the blessings. For example, again, we're seeing a lot of division, but look at all the places where people are coming together. Look at all the places where community is being built. Shift your perspective. Let's get a little bit more and see what's going on here for this first quarter. This is truly indicative of what we've been experiencing in our individual ascension. The light shines on the shadow, but only as a means of bringing what is shadow to light, what is bringing the unconscious to light. It has to come to the consciousness. It has to be brought up into our awareness. And that's exactly what we've been seeing and will continue to see. That's how we shift in consciousness. You first have to be aware of it. You've heard me say that awareness is your superpower. It will always be your superpower. The more you acknowledge, whether that's within your individual life, if you're acknowledging anger, if you're acknowledging fear, whatever you're acknowledging within yourself, you don't give it that unconscious power anymore. You're more aware of it. So then you're more in control of yourself. You're more in your own empowerment. You can do something with it. You can make more conscious choices, more conscious decisions. Your awareness will always be your superpower. And the more aware we become, the more we create that shift. Tell me more about the first quarter, please. Yeah, this is a process. It's a slow process. It's a slow moving process, but it's a process nonetheless. Because we're talking about a lot of energy. We're talking about collective energy. And so that's where your individual process, your individual journey has an impact on the collective. And the more you are embodying that love, the more you are embodying peace, compassion, empathy, acceptance, the more you are leading by that example and showing others how to raise in their consciousness too, how to navigate their ascension journeys or spiritual awakenings, how they are not all they thought they were, but they're more, to connect with their soul self versus just their ego. That's what a shift in consciousness is. And so it is a process, and it is quite slow moving, but it is a process nonetheless. They're also bringing me to the earth and how the earth itself is going through this process. And we see this with regards to nature. Again, the elementals, all the natural elements going on. We see this with regards to the fire being an energy of purge. What they're bringing me to is, there are certain places, especially in the United States, I'm sure elsewhere too, but there are certain places in the United States where it's necessary to do a controlled burn, is what it's called. This happens in farmlands. I think it happens in state parks too. A controlled burn is what is necessary in order to recultivate the land, in order to re-nourish the land. Something about the soil. I'm not versed in that. They're just bringing through the energy of that. So if anybody has more detail, please feel free to share your knowledge in the comments section. But it's just this energy of fire being a purifying energy, and not just that, but a cleansing energy. And again, they're also bringing me, like with farmland, if you were to till the same patch of farmland every season, then the soil gets exhausted. And then it doesn't, the crops don't grow because all the nutrients will bleed out. It just gets exhausted. And so that's why on farms, farmers will have different crops for different seasons. No, let me put it this way. Um, they will have different plots of land, different seasons. So for one season, or 1 year, they might do the plot of land in the north corner, and in another season they might do the plot of land in the south corner, that kind of thing. It's to give the earth a chance to rest, to give the earth a chance to rejuvenate. Mother Earth knows what she's doing, and she wants us to know that. Mother Earth knows what she's doing, and what's happening is she is releasing and purging everything that has been non-natural, is the phrase that they're giving me. Anything that's non-natural. This has come up even with the hurricanes and the storms that we've seen. With the water element. Water too is a very purifying energy. And so it stirs up. What I just keep seeing is the cyclone energy. It stirs up all of the old. And that's where we have to be, the calm in the storm. I did a channeling and a meditation on that. It's available in our Ascension Connections portal. You can make sure that you check that out. It was a very powerful one. That's where we hold that light. That's where we become that beacon of light. That's where we hold that space. We are that light in the center of the storm. That solid structure, that peace within. That's what we're learning to cultivate on that ascension journey. That, it might look like there's chaos swirling all around us, but there is peace within, and there's also purpose within that chaos. It's stirring up all of that old to release it, so that all that's left when the skies finally clear is what is true, is what is real. So the earth knows what she's doing, and it's about getting back to the basics. It's about getting back to that connection with the earth. And that's what she's calling for now, connecting directly to Mother Gaia now. That's what she's calling for us as humans now. She wants us to connect back to her, back to the elements, back to nature, and to recognize that, like Kali Ma taught us, from destruction comes creation. That is a cycle of life. And so Mother Gaia herself is going through an ascension process in which she is purging anything that had been harming her, anything that had been non-natural in that respect. There is a huge clearing and purification energy that is coming from Mother Gaia herself. She's going through an ascension process just as much as we humans who live on this planet, as we who are part of Earth. We're all going through this. Anything else we need to know for the first quarter? Anything else we need to know for the first quarter? And the Strength card. This Strength card is a card that I connect with overcoming the ego, taming the ego. It is connecting with that I call internal, eternal truth. Connecting with your divinity, connecting with your soul, which is where your strength lies. True strength lies within you. True strength lies within connecting to yourself. It will always be connecting to yourself. And so I feel like that's what this first quarter is showing us too, how to shift your perspective from that victimhood to finding that strength within ourselves. And that's how we have the strength to show up for the planet. That's how we have the strength to show up for each other. That's how we have the strength to, and the courage to advocate and be activists in our world, however that looks like. It doesn't have to be, fighting on the front lines. It could be, holding space for somebody who is sick, loving somebody who is depressed, supporting somebody who has, been in their own darkness, and holding that space as they They heal within themselves and go through their own journeys. You know, it's going to show up in a number of different ways. It's not always going to look as we think it's supposed to. And that's the beauty of our journey too, is trusting our own process and trusting where the universe is guiding us, because the universe is always going to be guiding us. Okay, let's see what's going on in the second quarter. I feel like the first quarter, which we're in now, is going to be more and more of these consciousness shifts, more and more of these realizations. You might have breakthroughs within yourself, and that might also look like breakthroughs in your physical world, and how the breakthroughs within yourself, the shifts within yourself, those shifts in consciousness look or reflect in your physical world. So again, there's nothing external that is not already experienced within yourself. Your beliefs, your perspectives, your energy that you're holding is what indicates the physical world that you experience. I'll give another example just because they're calling me to it. For example, if you're in a state of depression or victimhood or lack or scarcity, and you focus on that energy, well, you keep replaying those cycles. And so you keep having those experiences, right? But when you shift your belief into one of worthiness, shift your belief to one of I'm always supported by the universe. Shift your belief to love and connection and recognizing how everything is interconnected, then you begin to experience that in your physical world too. And that might be in a relationship that is in greater alignment. That might be in a job that is more abundant, that is more fulfilling. That might be in a location in which there is more connection and joy. Your physical world will always reflect the energy you're holding within. And the more people who are in alignment with themselves, again, that has a huge impact on the collective. It's all ripples. And it's just keep letting those ripples expand, because there is no limit in how far those ripples can go, because there is no limit in how far love can go. All right, let's see what's going on for the second quarter, April, May, and June for the collective, please, Spirit. What's going on for the second quarter, April, May, and June? We have the Four of Air. We have the Eight of Earth. Let's get one more card, please. April, May, and June. And we have the Fool card. I feel a sense of, especially with the Four of Swords and the Eight of Pentacles here, I feel a sense of kind of like, I don't know how to put this, getting to work. The Four of Swords is immediately giving me this sense of surrender and acceptance. But surrender and acceptance does not mean submission. Surrender and acceptance means recognizing that whatever's playing out in our physical world, it is the physical experience, that's old energy. It's already manifested. And so that's where we surrender and accept what is. But it's also getting to work and making that change. And that's also what I'm feeling with the Fool card. It's also allowing change to come through. With the Eight of Pentacles, it's also reminding us it's where we put our focus, right? Are we going to be in resistance? Are we going to be fighting what already is? Or are we going to be working towards making a change? And you can apply that to your individual life again, or you can apply that to the greater collective. But it's all one and the same. It's all interconnected. Again, the ripples. So with this Four of Swords, I want to pull this Four of Swords out, because I feel like there's a lot of energy that's coming from it. I feel like that's the height of it. From this Four of Swords, the more that we surrender and accept, the more we are able to kind of get to work with regards to creating something new. We always manifest from the present moment. Everything in our physical reality is a past manifestation from a past version of ourselves, a past energy that we were in. It's a past manifestation. You know, even what we just channeled here is a past manifestation, is a past channeling. It's past, it's old energy. What are we creating in the present? what energy we're embodying in the present so that we can create moving forward, creating forward. So with this 4 of air and the 8 of earth, there's a very healing energy that it feels is possible here. There is a lot of hope coming through here. There is a lot of, I just keep getting, and I've been getting this phrase for a couple of weeks now, maybe even a couple of months now, boots on the ground. That's where this feels like. It feels like getting down to the nitty gritty now. It feels like taking action, getting to work. That's what this feels like. And so allowing ourselves to accept, to surrender, to recognize, okay, it is what it is, but it is what it is not submission. It is what it is a launching pad for us to consciously create and work through what is new, or work on or focus on what is new, to create new beginnings. So that being said, let's get a little bit deeper and see what this might actually relate to. What is this for the second quarter, please? What is this for the second quarter? Tell me more about the second quarter for the collective. It's too much. Second quarter for the collective, please. We have the Page of Wands and we have the Knight of Wands. It's interesting. We talked about Neptune moving into Aries, and Neptune is, was it Neptune moving into Aries? Yeah, March 30th, which is in alignment with this, April, May, June. So from the end of the first quarter into the second quarter, March 30th until 2039, Neptune is going to be in the sign of Aries. And we talked about how Neptune is a very dreamy energy, but connecting that with Aries energy, it's also a very active energy. Aries is active. It's a fire energy. Aries wants us to move. Aries wants us to take action. So it's about being practical and being grounded as we are bringing new ideas to light. Well, that's kind of what this energy feels like. With this Page of Wands and Knight of Wands, this Page of Wands feels almost like a Page of Swords, where new ideas, new innovations coming to light, taking root. But that's also with this Page of Wands energy, creativity, but taking action on it, moving on it, not just sitting in the fantasy, not just sitting in the daydream, not just sitting in the planning stages, but actually moving forward with it. So I do feel like there is this energy of, again, accepting what is, but taking what is and creating something new from it with the Fool card. And that boots on the ground energy, putting your focus now into taking action, into putting in the work for it. If we're applying this to our physical lives, what this feels like collectively is, oh gosh, the examples that I'm getting is, let me sit with this for a second. The example that I'm getting is like when we have an invention and we build upon that invention to make it better. For example, computers. We started off with these huge rooms full of machines. That was the first computer, right? It was a big room full of a machine that had all this coding, right? And now look at where they are. We have these computers in our hands as cell phones. Yeah, cell phones are teeny tiny computers, right? That's where innovation has led us. That's this kind of energy. It's dreaming bigger, but putting those dreams into action, going from where we are and renewing our focus, taking action on that focus to create something new. Now, this can be in a number of different ways. It could be something like an invention, or it could be something like, again, activism, advocacy. It could be creating new and better systems that benefit the all versus the few, which is a key highlight for 2025, especially with these transits that we're experiencing that we just channeled in part one. The energy that they're giving me too is Leonardo da Vinci. We channeled Leonardo da Vinci many, many years ago. And what he shared with us in that channeling, and I'll link that into the description box too, what we channeled back then was how new things coming to light. Leonardo da Vinci was a Renaissance man. He was a genius through and through, and he created the foundations for a lot of our technology that we have today. He created the foundation for what we know about the human body. He created the foundation for the bicycle. What they're showing me, like his sketches. So all these inventions, we can credit Leonardo da Vinci as the foundations. You know, he's in essence a founding father of innovation. And through these centuries, through these years, we have compounded upon it, built upon it, expanded upon those inventions. What we had channeled back then was that there is even more brought to light. When we read a book, for example, we approach that book from the level of understanding from where we are in that present moment. And months later or years later, as we read the book again, as we have new understanding, as we have new life experience and carry that wisdom with us, we will read that book through a different lens because you're a different person and you're in a different energy. And so you might understand it through one lens and one angle at one point in time. You will understand it on a deeper level and through a different lens and different angle at another point in time. It's that saying, that proverb, you'll never step into the same river twice because you're not the same man and it's not the same river. Well, same goes with invention and innovation. The same goes with what Leonardo da Vinci channeled to us many years ago, is that there's going to be more of an understanding, that there's going to be a discovery of his inventions, that we missed something, or at the very least, we didn't have the understanding of what he was bringing through, because he was a channeler too, is what they're saying, is what he was bringing through. So, for example, he might have shared something with the physical body. They're showing me the Vesuvian man. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Is that what it's called? I can't remember when I'm channeling. They're showing me the sketch of the man. We understood the physical body thanks to that. But there's more that we have yet to understand. Even with all our medical resources, even with all our medical advancements and biological advancements and understanding of the human body, there's even more that he brought forth in his texts and in his own studies, Leonardo da Vinci now, in his own studies, that we have not necessarily missed on purpose, but our level of consciousness, our level of understanding was such that we weren't able to recognize it. And I do feel like this year there's going to be more coming out with regards to Leonardo da Vinci's inventions, his innovations. We're gonna take his innovations and expand upon it in a new way. There's something here about that. And it feels like that's happening this year. Just gonna say it because that's all I can do is be the messenger and see how that plays out. But I do feel like he's coming forth again as an energy of this is gonna happen. And that's what we channeled many years ago. That in the future there was gonna be a recognition of his work, but from a new angle, from a new perspective, that was going to lead to new innovations and new technologies. That's this energy here. Now, that's coming through with a specific message for Leonardo da Vinci and his work. So it also applies to you. It also applies to other areas of life. This energy, again, is taking action on new ideas, taking action on new inventions. And this doesn't just have to be like a physical invention. This could be taking action on your life, ideas for your life. Not just sitting in the realm of fantasy, not just sitting in the realm of dreams, but taking action on those dreams, because you are finally recognizing that dreams are possible. You are finally recognizing that you are limitless and that you don't have to, number one, you can't wait for the external to take action, because it doesn't happen from the outside in. It doesn't happen by waiting for the external to line up. It only happens within yourself. So, really, really interesting. Really interesting energy here. All right, let's move forward. Let's see what else. Third quarter, please. July, August, and September. July, August, and September. The Emperor, masculine energy. Masculine energy doesn't matter if you're male or female. Doesn't matter if you resonate more as a core male, or core masculine, or a core feminine. This is the masculine energy as a whole. Let's see what this is. And not only that, they're saying this is the divine masculine, the sacred masculine, the conscious masculine. So it does feel like there is going to be a shift. I'm actually seeing some shadow. So there might be a shift in the shadow that we have been seeing when it comes to masculine energy, and especially distorted or toxic masculine energy. Just like the feminine has been rising, the masculine then follows. So we teach this in our Sacred Union Energy updates. I go deep into this in my book, The Unity Code, as well. As the feminine heals on her own ascension journey, the masculine then follows. The feminine goes through her ascension first, through her healing, through her inner work, through her transformation. Then the masculine follows. The masculine is holding space for the feminine as she is going through her ascension, so that when the masculine goes through their ascension, the feminine is then able to guide and hold that light, be that light, and hold that space for the masculine. So we're seeing that in the collective here. We have the Knight of Fire, Knight of Wands, and one more, please. One more. And the Eight of Air, the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is an interesting card because the Eight of Swords is where a lot of blame and projection can be placed. The Eight of Swords is a card of victimhood. It is feeling all tied up, it's feeling trapped, but if you look at the card, you're literally doing it to yourself by repeating patterns and repeating cycles and repeating beliefs that are keeping you stuck in lower density energy, what I like to call soul sludge. It's keeping you stuck, it's keeping you stagnant because you're repeating those stories. Well, I feel like what's happening here is the masculine collectively is beginning to break out of those old stories. What I'm actually getting is where there are, for lack of a better word, I'm going to use the word cult, where there are unhealthy communities or cults, and we see this in political. I'm actually getting drawn to politics. This is not a political reading, but I'm getting drawn to politics, where we are seeing cults and cult-like energies or behaviors in politics especially. What I'm seeing is factionings, break-offs of that, because there's a rising of the masculine energy. There's a rising and a shift in consciousness. People recognizing where they were holding themselves back, people realizing where they were giving over their power to another and not recognizing that empowerment within themselves. There's a healing of the masculine energy, and from the distortion and from the toxicity, there is a movement, a great movement that is happening. And I feel a lot of that is going to happen with regards to, I feel like there's going to be, it might look like chaos in our physical world, but again, you're being called to hold the light, be the light. Hold the light, be the light. And with that, take action where you are guided to take action. Whether that is expressing yourself, whether that is activism, whether that is advocacy, whether that is support, whether that is building community. It is leadership by example. But I do feel like there by the summertime, it does feel like there's going to be maybe some more chaos as what it looks like on the physical. But again, underneath that, community is rising up, unity is rising up. Don't look towards the negative. Don't look towards the division. Don't sink into that victimhood and defeat. Again, the more that you anchor into this energy now, the smoother it's going to go, and the more we can shift that timeline to love, the more we can shift that timeline to unity, the more we can shift that timeline to peace. Okay? So this message here in the first quarter was all about Where is your focus going to be? And that comes from a shift in consciousness, your level of consciousness. So I feel like in the third quarter, there is a breaking free from old patterns that is happening that might look like some shadow rising to the surface, that might look like some chaos on the surface in our physical reality, our collective reality. But I feel like the more we are able to anchor into peace, the more we are able to anchor into unity, the more we are able to cultivate that community within our own individual lives and have that extend outwardly, the more that toxic energy is going to release. And when we're talking about toxic energy and toxic masculinity, that's the patriarchy. And I want to be extremely clear that when we're talking about the patriarchy and that pendulum shifting, which we've been channeling for years, what we've been seeing on our ascension journey is a pendulum shifting from the patriarchy and being released. And what happens when a pendulum is released, right? It goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It looks like a little bit of chaos. But eventually, where does it land, that pendulum? It lands in the middle, right? It doesn't go all the way to matriarchy. That's another side of the extreme. It comes into that balance, that place of harmony, where the polarities are bridged, where the masculine and the feminine work in harmony with each other, where they honor each other. It's not about going from one system to another. It's about finding that middle way, finding that balance. And so that's where you honor both. And I feel like that's what's happening. I'm hearing the word unraveling. There is a breaking free, a breakthrough of the old ways of doing things. And that is linked directly to the masculine energy and the toxic masculine energy, the patriarchy that has been prevalent on this planet. Very interesting energy. So again, I want to be clear. This is not male against female. This is not masculine against feminine. Understanding the sacred union path and understanding the ascension journey is recognizing and honoring the strengths of both, working in harmony together. That is what union is all about. That is what unity is all about. That is what the middle way is all about. All right, tell me more about the third quarter, please. I'm going to take all of these because that devil card is that attachment. That devil card is a dependency on where we've been and continuing where we've been, but that's where we're breaking free from. And what I really like about these Ace of Wands and Ace of Swords is, number one, that enlightenment energy. Ace of Wands is, for me, a next level of ascension. It's enlightenment. And you also have that enlightenment with the Ace of Swords, that clarity, that truth coming through. So that attachment, that devil energy, that toxic energy no longer holds sway. It doesn't belong anymore. That's what we're going to be seeing. So in our physical world, we might see some shadow. We might see some chaos. But look underneath the surface of that. Tune into the energy of that. What's really beneath the surface? What's really being shown? Because I can bet that what you'll see truly is community rising up, is unity coming together, is that unity consciousness taking form, is the balancing playing out. Yeah, the bottom of the deck here is the Lover's card. So what we teach and the path that we're on with regards to the sacred union path of ascension, what we teach when it comes to sacred partners, that is interconnected with all. It's interconnected with the global collective too. We're just doing it on an individual scale. We're doing it on a micro scale within our relationships with our sacred partner. But again, your relationship with your sacred partner is for that growth, for that learning, for that harmony, for that peace. And when you and your sacred partner come together in that harmony and in that higher level of consciousness, you set a new template for what relationship is. You set a new template for what connection is, conscious communication. You set a new template for love. And like we channeled in the very beginning of our journey here, it's a cosmic effect. When you reach that inner union within yourself, and when you experience that, with your sacred partner, if you're on that sacred union path of ascension with a sacred partner, it's you come together and it's like an explosive energy of love that has the power to create new worlds. You're writing a new template. You're writing a new template of love, not just romantic love and relationship love. It is so far beyond that. You're writing a new template that is the Christ Sophia consciousness. Okay, yeah, I'm going to leave that as it is. We'll do some follow-ups throughout the year and see if we can tune in further into what this is, but I feel like we're going to leave that as it is. So let's see what's going on for the fourth quarter by the end of the year. We have love, the Lover's card. We have the Page of Earth. And we have the Nine of Earth. All earth energy, well, except for the Lover's card, but earth energy. Being very grounded energy. Being very practical energy. Being very applicable energy is the word that I'm getting. So learning how to apply that love. Again, not just love being an energy that you just feel. Love is a verb. Love is an active energy, and that's what this feels like. With the Page of Earth, it is taking action, starting something new. And with the Nine of Earth, it is recognizing your personal empowerment. The Nine of Earth, the Nine of Pentacles, is an energy that is independent, that is self-sufficient. We channeled that in the astrological transits, that it's about recognizing not just the individual, but the community too. The individual working along with the partner or the community. That also is Neptune in Aries, where it's encouraging that balance between the individual and partnership. It's not neglecting or negating one or the other. It's not saying one is better or worse. It's not saying we all have to be individuals and we forget the community or we forget relationship. It's not saying that we forsake our individuality for community or for relationship. It's about the balance of both. That's what this energy feels like. It feels like there is something coming into balance here. Coming into more balance here, I should say. I feel like this is going to be a process that leads into 2026. Tell me about, for the collective, fourth quarter for the collective. What is this about? The Eight of Cups. Yeah, it's this walking away with the with the Lover's card here. You have a choice. The Lover's card is always a choice. What is it that you're going to choose? And when you are in partnership, in relationship, and this doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, it could be a relationship that you have with family, relationship that you have with friends. Everything is relational. When we are allowing that relationship, when we are allowing that intimacy, when we are allowing that vulnerability, when we are allowing that connection with each other, then we're able to build bridges. Then we're able to create more harmony. Then we're able to create more unity. And so it is a choice to walk away from old ways of doing things. And that's what this feels like. It feels like walking away from old templates, old programs, old ways of doing things, old ways of relating, old ways of connecting. So that you're not forsaking community or individuality for the other. You are finding the balance between both, finding the strength within both. The saying that they're bringing to me is it takes a village. And receiving that support from community or from your partner, for example, does not mean that you are neglecting your own individuality. It strengthens your individuality. That's what interdependence is in a relationship, is that you are an empowered individual, but that empowerment also is recognized in partnership and in community. That's what's being torn down, is what they're saying. It is not power over. It is not control over. It is a unifying with. Tell me more. The Eight of Cups is also indicative of walking into the new, walking into something healthier, walking into something much more conscious, walking into something that feels much more fulfilling. And the World, yep. The end of one cycle and the beginning of a new. This is impacting the whole world. So take it as it resonates for your individual life, but it's also going to have that ripple effect. It's also going to have that impact. Okay. Wow. I told you guys, this is my biggest reading of the year. All right. We're going to get into the themes of 2025. So we're going to look at what might be happening for relationships, our finances and career, family and home, and soul growth. Now we're looking at it from a collective landscape, so keep that in mind and apply it as you will to your individual life. So with regards to, I'm going to use obviously the romance angels, but relationships does not have to be romantic relationships. This is how we relate to each other. We have relationship with everything, including money, including technology. We literally have a relationship with everything, so keep that in mind. Let's see what's coming through for relationships for 2025 as a whole. For the collective for 2025, what's coming through for relationships? What's coming through for relationships for 2025? Okay, we have the card trust. The situation is calling for you to have faith. I'm getting the word alignment, and I feel like you are getting into alignment with those connections, those relationships that are connecting with you on a soul level. So this is more soul connections, this is more soul community, soul family. I feel like anything that isn't aligned with you, because you are in your authentic self, because you are connecting with your soul self, naturally, again, your physical world has to reflect that. And so this feels like those that are supportive of you, those who are lifting you up, those who are motivating you, those who are teaching you, but not from like a preacher standpoint, because remember, it's not about a middleman. It's about recognizing that you have that within yourself too. It's about connecting to yourself, connecting to your own intuition. And I feel like this is all about connecting with mentors, with teachers, with those who are going to cultivate that within you. Cultivate that sense of trust within yourself, and you have that sense of trust in these relationships. So the key theme for relationships is this energy of alignment and trusting in the relationships, the connections that are coming in, trusting that they are aligned to this level of who you have become. Okay? Let's see what's going on with finances and career. This part of the reading goes much more quickly. Let's see what's going on for finances and career. Finances and career for 2025. Finances and career. What's happening with regards to overall finances and career for 2025? Look at this. Trust. Remember when I said a relationship with money too? Relationship with technology, relationship with your job. Like everything is a relationship. You have this energy of trust too. Trusting that you're divinely supported. Not giving into the lack, but allowing yourself to really anchor into that faith in yourself and in that divine support, being one and the same. This really feels like we're beginning to bridge separation as a collective. You've been working on that individually in your own ascension journey, seeing separation as an illusion. This really feels like setting the foundation, setting the stage from 2025 onwards with the help of Pluto and Aquarius, because Pluto and Aquarius is all about connecting to our authentic self. It is all about setting the stage and foundation for connection to ourselves and our divinity. It is all about unity consciousness. So that's what this feels like too. Allow me, divine, to give you my deepest longings, trusting you to know exactly how to handle them. Yeah. So I feel like no matter where, again, alignment, no matter where you are in your individual life, I feel like everything is alignment so that you are supported. And rather than fearing and giving into that lack, the more that you begin to trust that you're in alignment, the more you're going to be in that alignment with the energy of abundance. And they're showing me the big picture with regards to the collective energy. So, with regards to our modern times in society, for example, there's a lot of fear with regards to inflation and loans and student loans and mortgages and unable to purchase homes and things like that. Right? There's some real energies of lack in the world. Well, the more that we tune in, and it's like a radio dial, they're showing me, the more that we tune in to the energy of support and abundance, plus taking action, right? We have to take action for ourselves, not relying on other people to do it for us, not relying on a system to do it for us. The more that we are taking action, the more that we are creating new systems in order to take action. That's what I mean by taking action, creating new systems that again benefit the all versus the few. The more that we trust the process of that, the more that we trust the universe, the more we trust ourselves and each other, the more abundance we're going to have. It's all about the alignment. This is like, I don't know if I'm articulating this energy correctly, but this is pretty powerful stuff. This is opportunity is what I'm getting. We really have an opportunity here to shift the storyline, to shift the timeline, to shift the energy here. We really have that power to create something new here and create something powerful. And rather than looking at all the dismay and chaos and destruction and through the lens of defeat, recognize that we have the power to create something new that benefits all. But it comes down to trusting each other, it comes down to trusting ourselves, and it comes down to trusting the divine, all being connected. What's happening with regards to family and home? Symbolically, home. What's happening with regards to family and home? What's a common theme here in 2025 for the collective? Family and home. Family and home. Family and home for 2025. What's a common theme? Family and home. Chaos and conflict. I feel interesting. At the bottom of the deck, we have this energy of truth be told. And what I feel from this is that there's a revealing. And what I feel is revealing is, again, that connection, that relationship. Who is your soul family? Who is truly aligned with you? Who is truly connected with you? And prioritizing that. We talked a lot about keeping your circle small in the channeling and what that means. That doesn't mean neglecting, avoiding, or negating or isolating yourself from community or from other people, but it just means bringing your focus to those who mean the most to you, those that you are deeply connected with, prioritizing that energy, so that you're able to give from a place of overflow, you're able to give from a place of support, so that you are nurturing those connections that mean the most to you, that are in most alignment with you. That's what this energy feels like, especially with the chaos and the conflict. With regards to it's symbolic of family and symbolic of home, where there might have been, especially in recent years, lots of that conflict and chaos and division. But there's a mending energy that's coming through here from what's being revealed. And a lot of that healing and mending comes within the self first. Again, it is, who are you connecting with? Because how connected are you within yourself? So how are you connecting with other people? I really like this owl who holds wisdom. I really like the symbolism here of the mask that is off, referencing authenticity, showing you your true authentic self, being true to who you are, honoring who you are. And I really like this open heart energy, no longer caged, no longer held in, but allowing yourself to be who you are. And anywhere there was chaos or anywhere there was conflict that was created from you being yourself, that's what's healing, that's what's fading away. So that you are now in alignment with people who honor you, who are reminiscent of your true self, reflective of your true self. You can be your true self. This is what soul family is all about. This is what soul community is all about. Recognizing what community is, what family really is. I feel like in 2025, There's going to be a lot of people in the greater collective. You've already been doing this in your own inner world, in your own inner work through your individual ascension. But in the greater collective, I feel like there's going to be people who are going to be really diving deep into what family is and what it means, what home is and what it means. And home is a sanctuary within yourself. Home is something that you carry with you. It's an energy. It's not necessarily a place. The same with family. Family is what you make it. It doesn't have to be biological. It is what you make it. So there's a great energy of healing. And healing and mending doesn't necessarily mean mending rifts or building bridges. Healing and mending could mean having boundaries and being in a state of empowerment, not ego, but being in a state of empowerment and knowing your worth so that you're going where you're respected. You're going where you're accepted. You're going where you're loved. It could be where there were rifts in family or where there was conflict, that there is a great healing that happens there too, a mending, a building bridges. But overall, for the greater collective, what I'm feeling is recognizing and understanding, discerning what family really means. What does that mean? It's not a definition. It is something that is felt. It is an alignment. All right, and let's get a card for soul growth. What does 2025 bring for the collective when it comes to soul growth? What does 2025 bring for the collective when it comes to soul growth? Oh my goodness. Joy and delight. Okay, these are way too many. Joy and delight. Open your heart to joy. Again, this energy of looking through a different lens. Are you going to look through victimhood, lack, scarcity? Or are you going to find the blessings? Are you going to look through a lens of gratitude? Are you going to look through a lens of love? I feel like that's going to be, I feel like 2025 is going to be a choice point for many people. And I feel like that's, again, that split that we might be experiencing. If you are experiencing lack, victimhood, if you're stuck in that unconscious spiral and those unconscious loops by choice, let me make that clear, by choice, then you will experience, those lower density energies of challenges and struggles and obstacles. And that's not to say that you won't experience challenges and obstacles and higher energies, but you have the capacity, you have the capability, you have the container to hold yourself, to overcome, to move through that with a lightness of being, is what they're saying. And so your experience is dependent on your attitude. Your experience is dependent on your beliefs that you hold about yourself, your perspectives that you have of the world. And so the more you open up to joy, love, those higher frequencies, the more you're going to experience that, the more you can experience that. Don't focus. I say this all the time in my Sacred Union energy updates for my community. Don't focus on the external and use the external as evidence. Don't use that to determine what you should feel. Don't match your energy to the physical. Be in your energy. Feel and be in the energy of whatever it is that you want to be in, like joy, like love, like compassion, and your physical world will match you. Yeah, look, grace and gratitude. Through gratitude, joy expands. Beautiful. All right, let's see what might be challenging us for the year ahead. What's challenging us for the year ahead? Surrender to rest and sleep to prevent burnout, slow down, honor your need for quiet time, and peaceful sleep to rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit. We did talk about in one of the astrological transits about how important it is to balance out the mind, the body, and the spirit. What was that? Okay, that was eclipse season. So eclipse season was all about focusing on your well-being, connecting with your spiritual health, the mind, the body, the spirit, exactly. So, again, If there is chaos in the world, not giving your energy over to that, but going within and nurturing your inner reality, nurturing your inner world. Again, nurturing your inner world does not mean ignoring what's going on here. That's that acceptance, right? That's that surrender energy. But it also means that you get to decide what your focus is. You get to decide what you act upon, the energy that you act upon. And so allowing yourself to take care of yourself and nurture yourself is actually what fills you up to be able to participate in healthier ways and more conscious ways in your physical reality, in your physical world. So that might be the challenge, is to not give in to the energies of everybody else, to not give in to the energies of the world, and to not focus on what's happening externally and physically, but to keep nurturing within and taking care of yourself, putting yourself as your first priority, your mental health, spiritual health, emotional health, and physical health. What are the blessings for 2025? Blessings for 2025 for the collective, please. We have success. I know that there is no greater goal than to love, and peace. Oh my God, I love seeing that. Peace. Peace. That is a blessing that comes from focusing on joy, focusing on love, focusing on compassion, focusing on what you can control versus what you can't. Focusing on those higher energies, those higher frequencies, focusing on that higher level of consciousness. Peace within is what creates peace without. And the more of us who create that peace within and cultivate that peace within, we see that in the physical world. We see the ripple effect of that. We see that expand. That's where our success is. Beautiful. And you cultivate peace. As a reminder, you cultivate that peace by taking care of yourself too. That's why the blessings and the challenges go hand in hand. All right, we're going to get some messages now to end the reading. Messages for 2025. You have the power to unlock the truth of who you are. Messages for 2025. Seek out the bright sparkle of optimism. Make time to celebrate how far you've come, which is why we recap 2024. And open your heart to the changes coming into your life. It's time to create change by seeking out new opportunities. And become your own muse, be your own inspiration. Choose compassion for yourself and others. We're going to end with a final message from the universe using my Conversations with the Universe deck. Let's see, what does the universe want to say to us as a collective? Who am I? The universe says, I am everything. I am you. Again, clearing that separation. I feel like that's going to be major for the collective in 2025. And only you get to choose which story you write. How will you create your destiny? Well, that just about sums up this reading, doesn't it? I hope this resonates. Please do leave me a message and let me know which part resonated and how it's connecting with you, and continue to come back throughout the year and see how it's unfolding. I'm sending you all so much love, so much light, so many blessings for the year ahead, and have a wonderful and happy new year.